Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Doctor Who Reviews. This week we are reviewing a classic from the 7th Doctor era, The Remembrance of the Daleks. And to discuss the episode with me, I have my two unusual co-hosts. Firstly, to my virtual left, if he wrote a story about the Daleks, he'd call it Reflection of the Daleks. It's Freezing Inferno.
Damn, actually, I'd be surprised if Big Finish or somebody hasn't done that yet.
I don't think it's a story yet, and now I've suggested it. It will be in about 10 years' time. And to my virtual right, Revolution calling, Revolution calling, Revolution calling her. It's Kat.
It's okay, Frez. I'm still technically waiting for Daniel Radcliffe of the Daleks, so we're both in the same boat. Eventually, they're going to run out of our words.
I mean, there's a character that sounds a bit like Radcliffe in this, so it sort of works.
Yes.
Yes,
exactly.
My God. Well, Remembrance of the Daleks. So
Yep.
Where do we begin with this?
Well, this is the one I picked for my birthday.
It's fantastic.
So,
Go watch it right now.
Yeah, this is the one I picked
Happy
for my
belated,
birthday.
by the way. Happy belated, by the way.
Thank you.
Yay,
I watched this as part of my my birthday. Just didn't take any notes the first time, and spoiler alert for later on, it is fantastic. It still holds up.
It really is.
Like I was going to say that now. This is a 10th best on that Doctor Who poll, and sometimes a broken clock is twice a day.
Yeah, for once the poll is right.
This story is
For
great.
once.
I would argue that the number 6 slot should have been ejected into the sun and to put Remembrance up a bit, but you know. Broken clock right twice a day. Remembrance of the Daleks is an absolute classic. It's the first classic Who I ever watched back in 2010. Somebody must have suggested, hey, you should check out the 7th Doctor era and start with Remembrance of the Daleks. And I throw it on and, oh, holy shit, this is lit.
Yep.
Whoever that
There's
person
my
was...
introduction to Ace.
I think it was, I don't know who that was, actually.
Well, whoever it was, they did you a big favour.
Whoever it was to set me on down a rabbit hole. But this story is actually, well, it's not the 25th anniversary story of Doctor Who. The 25th anniversary story is Silver Nemesis, which is a Cyberman story, and it's a bit of a mess. But it's a mess I kind of admire.
Cyberman stories tend to be.
It's a bit of a mess, but at least it bothers to have some people under cyber control, so, better than Earthshock. And actually knows something to do about it. It's a mess. Maybe we'll do it one day. I kind of have an appreciation for the thing, but for all intents and purposes, Remembrance, for me, is the 25th anniversary Doctor Who story because it engages with the past in a meaningful way and has some interesting things to say and is just... It is better than Earthshock in every conceivable way.
Yeah.
It has continuity, which is surprising because it's Doctor Who.
Yeah. It's got your classic monster, shit blowing up, shooty shots, gunfights. But there's just a level of polish and action to it. And it also has, themes. It's
got themes. It's got some really good acting in it. It's just a really good story.
It's got Ace.
It's got Ace.
Oh, Ace is fantastic in this.
Yeah. Maybe I'm biased because it's my first classic Doctor Who, but this is one of the standouts of classic Doctor Who for me. This is like top 5. This is.
Oh, it's also got the Daleks overcoming their worst enemy as well. That's good.
Oh, okay. So I think we should just launch right into it. Just get into the story, which the cold open, which this is a cold open for once. What is this, like modern Doctor Who? You've got planet Earth, and you get these little radio snippets of setup to set the time period. You got John F. Kennedy, Martin Luther King Jr., probably some other people. If you can look at the TARDIS wiki and see...
I can tell you one person that's in it, and I can tell one person who's not in it, because they weren't given permission to have them in it, is the Queen.
Oh, the Queen. Huh.
They wanted to use a speech from the Queen in that, and they were denied permission from Buckingham Palace, but the Palace did give them permission to use the Duke of Edinburgh instead.
Oh, that guy who's still kicking around.
Yeah, at the time of recording, he is still alive.
Despite fate's numerous attempts.
I'm not gonna knock him too hard because
He's old as fuck.
he also did fight for us in the Second World War. So
No.
Yeah.
I
know. At some point, it's just like, please, just let the poor man go.
I know he
will
says
give
some
him-
things that people find incredibly insensitive and racist, and I'm not defending that. But he did also fight the Nazis in the Second World War.
All right. I will reserve any judgment for now because he fought a Nazi.
It's just my entire. Well, not my entire timeline. Maybe a quarter of my timeline this past week has been people making fun of the Duke of Edinburgh.
God.
And that
So,
picture
once
does
we
look
get to the,
terrifying. That picture does look horrifying, in fairness. He does look like he's been harmed.
I just feel sorry for him. He looks like he's just, not happy at all.
He looks like he's being kept alive.
Yeah.
Which, to
That's
be
why
fair,
I'm saying that you gotta let him go.
Didn't he get a new heart? So
He had he had some medical complications.
Yeah, he had
Yes.
surgery, which honestly surprises me because he should be of the age where they're more reluctant to give him surgery.
well, he's
because of his
also
age.
He's also the Queen's
A royal-
husband. So,
he's royal and rich. And
Well, yeah, but still.
stuff. So yeah.
yeah.
But Duke of Edinburgh aside, once we get into the story, holy shit, we are dealing with some material going back to the beginning sort of stuff here because the setting of the story is I don't know what part of London it is, but Coal Hill School, 1963.
Yeah.
Yay!
The intention clearly, as this story is, the intention is that this is set maybe a month or so after the very first episode of the series.
Yeah.
Where there's some unfinished business going on.
And we do get various references to that throughout the 4 parts.
Yeah. So, and that'll be interesting in a moment when we talk about what the Doctor did in 1963, back then, when he was William Hartnell.
Yep.
Yeah. But for the time being, Ace and the Doctor are here in 1963. Ace with a giant fuck-off 80s boombox.
Oh my god, the boombox.
Hard rock. It's great. It's great shit.
I love her.
She calls it a tape deck, but it's definitely a boombox.
That's a boombox. I remember lugging one of those around when I was a kid and we went up to our cabin in the summer. Just, you bring your tapes, you bring your tape deck, you go to your friend's cabin, and I just brought this whole stereo along.
I'm trying to remember.
I don't think I
You have your tape, which is full of songs that you recorded from the radio.
Yes!
Yes, and you sit there trying to avoid the DJs talking over the song because it ruins it.
Yeah.
Oh, God, yeah. I was really nostalgic last summer because I remember I did one of those in the summer of 2000. So the last summer I was like, holy shit, that tape is 20 years old. I'm a fossil.
Fuck, we're old.
It's not the 80s, but in the 90s or the 2000s, I was trying to record Weester's Teenage Dirtbag and failed miserably.
I was born in 89.
So this serial's slightly older than you.
This serial is the same year same year I was born. Is this serial?
I was technically alive for this story. Anyway, back to it. The Doctor and Ace. Ace is hungry, so the Doctor gives her some money to go get some food, which leads to a funny. And meanwhile, he's investigating a van parked outside Coal Hill with an interesting aerial that's pretty sophisticated for 1963.
Which, if I remember correctly, ultimately it comes to nothing because it's normal technology used by normal people, right?
Yeah, it's not alien. It's used by the group that the Doctor eventually joins up with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The military group.
You're meant to think that it's a sinister alien thing, that technology that's in advance of the period, but no, it's just that.
No, it's just
they've got a
someone's
clever
really smart
person.
and made a nice aerial.
They have a clever person who we eventually meet that's developed this technology.
Yeah.
So while the Doctor's fucking around, he's just investigating stuff. He's heading into Coal Hill Playground, looking at mysterious scorch marks on the playground at the school. All while a little girl is rhyming 5, 6, 7, 8. There's a Doctor at the gate.
Yeah, the little girl is extremely creepy.
1, 2, Freddy's coming for you.
Pretty much, yeah.
That's all I can think of.
I mean,
However, I was laughing really hard when the doctor just climbed up on top of the van to look at the aerial,
Yeah.
and nobody came out of the van to come and talk to him. Like, what the hell are you doing?
Speaking of funny gags, Ace heading into the cafe,
oh,
and she meets up with a nice young man, and when she goes to pay for her sandwiches, she takes out the money that I gave her, and what in the fuck is this shit?
I love the fact that she fails to grasp pre-decimalization money.
Yeah, it's, to be fair, it's a bit of a trip.
That's a really nice little character nuance that she has.
That's actually the kind of money, and indeed, we did an Unearthly Child, which is why we've done enough podcasts with all the references and stuff we can call back to. But on Unearthly Child, Susan had that mention of the fact that they don't use a decimal system in the UK yet.
Yeah.
And here's Ace back in 63, like, what in the fuck? 20 shillings to the pound? What in the shit? That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
I don't.
See, I would make a joke about Hogwarts and the currency of the Wizarding World, but honestly, I don't have it in me to make any jokes about that. Just
I was going to say, could you please find it in your heart not to do that?
However, I will say that she is an awful person,
Yeah.
and that's what I'll leave it at.
So, it turns out the nice friend that Ace met at the cafe is actually a sergeant who is with these van people.
Yeah.
And the doctor's been chatting with the scientist in the van.
The scientist is Rachel Jensen.
Yeah.
The Ace's beau, I'll call him, is in fact Sergeant Mike Smith. And then we meet Smith's commanding officer, Captain Gilmore, Group Captain Gilmore.
Oh, we should mention that the inciting incident here is that they get reports of something going on somewhere, and they drive, and where do they go but 76 Todders Lane?
Yeah, with the sign misspelled.
Which continuity hounds had to make an entire bullshit up about why the sign's
so
wrong.
It's supposed to say I am Foreman, Forman, but it says Foreman with an E in it, E in the middle.
No, you got it backwards. The right way in 63 had the E, and Remembrance doesn't have the E.
Oh, all right. Well, Todd's Wiki's lied to me again, but
Either way.
it was the second time they had a problem with that sign though, because when they originally painted it, it was painted LM Foreman, and they spotted that and changed it, but didn't spot the misspelling somehow.
Whoops. Well, we're back in the junkyard, and indeed.
Yay!
And yay! And also a soldier has been killed. Oh.
No!
Massive internal injuries. His insides were fried by some sort of energy beam. And, well, long story short, yeah, the doctor knows they got the thing, whatever it is, pinned down. And the doctor knows there's no way out, he says. And when Gilmore asks, how do you know that? Well, I've been here before.
Yeah. The doctor is retracing his steps, essentially.
Yeah.
Yep.
But the thing starts shooting, and, well, we get a historic moment. Up until now, we did it in Remembrance of the Daleks. You showed this. Up until now, when the Daleks have killed somebody, they do, like, a negative film effect.
Yeah.
And in Revelation, they did it around the person. But this is the debut of the iconic, as of the revival, green X-ray effect.
Yeah.
Nice.
And even for the 1980s, this is rad as hell.
As we see when some soldier gets shot, and he just flies right back.
Oh yeah, by the way, spoilers, the thing that they were confronting was a Dalek. Not sure how you would have gotten that. I mean, it's not like it's in the title or anything.
Holy shit, wow. Spoilers,
I'm quite happy that there wasn't a cliffhanger that was like, there are Daleks in this episode entitled Remembrance of the Daleks.
There are Dalek stories that do that, sincerely.
I know.
You know what would be really funny is if one day they named something like Regeneration of the Daleks, and it turns out there's no Daleks in it at all.
That would be really funny.
That would be honestly really funny.
I do like that Mike Smith, the sergeant, he's in his truck, and he's on like a big 1960s like radio, trying to talk, and the Dalek tries to shoot him, but somehow he's got like spider sense, so he ducks his head down in the truck just as his Dalek.
He either ducks or the Dalek just misses him.
It looked like, well, it looks like the actor ducks a minute before.
Yeah.
Well, you know that they are Daleks, and they went to the Stormtrooper School of Shooting. So.
Well, I mean, the Daleks already killed 2 people, so.
Yeah. One of them,
Yeah,
by
they
the way,
went to the Stormtrooper School of Shooting, where you learn to not hit the main characters.
The soldier that got blasted into the fencing. He's not just any old soldier. That's stunt coordinator Tipping playing that poor guy.
Oh God, he does a good death blast.
There was a reason he was one of the top stuntmen.
Yeah, they really flung him right the fuck back into that sheet metal. I'm impressed.
Yeah.
Stunt work's good in this. Speaking of stunt work, we got a Dalek coming out of cover, and we got a bit of a gunfight. And there's a real great bit where we didn't mention it earlier when the Doctor and Ace first show up. The Doctor sort of chastises Ace about Nitro 9. Well, we know Nitro 9. Yeah, we've known enough. We've done enough Ace to know Nitro 9, her homemade explosive.
Boom juice.
So the Doctor's just sitting there. There's this Dalek gunfight happening. He turns to Ace and he says, "Quick, Ace, give me some of that Nitro 9 you're not carrying."
I was going to build up to this, but yes.
So here's the 7th Doctor. He rushes out of cover. He's just like, "Oi, Dalek, it's me. What's wrong? Don't you recognize your mortal enemy?" And, so he gets the Dalek, he lures it down, he pulls the trigger on the Nitro 9, sets it down, and, the blast knocks him on his ass. But he's fine, and the Dalek is blown to shit.
He complains to Ace about the fuse.
Yeah.
You call that a 10-second fuse? It was more like 7 or 8.
Anyway, then they borrow Mike's... then they borrow the van. Ace and the Doctor, and they drive off, and we have a little explanation of the Daleks, and there's actually some pretty wild comedic moments where it's just like he mentions I gotta get the transcript real quick, just because
gotta do this justice.
Well, while you do that, I should point out, how old is Ace, and why is she driving a van?
She's like 17, 18.
Yeah, okay.
So the Doctor's explaining about where the Daleks come from. He says there's a mutated remains of a species called the Khalids. Left here. When were they left here? No, turn left here. Oh, right. No, left. You missed the turn.
So it's literally the bit from Clockwise. Got it.
And then like they go into a tunnel, and the next shot is just the Doctor and Ace have somehow switched spots. And now the Doctor's drunk. Okay, this is another thing. Why this story is better than Earthshock. This story's fucking got jokes. Yeah.
It's actually quite dark and bleak in places, but it does have some humorous moments to lighten the mood.
Yeah. Fucking fun with this. Not all, bang, 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 boom.
Yeah.
And it's good for that.
Yeah.
I also like the fact
honestly,
that
kudos.
Yeah, go on. Sorry.
I was just gonna say kudos to the writer Ben A.A. Aronovich.
Ben Aronovich.
A.A. Ronovich.
I get what you're going for, Cad.
I do as well, but I'm trying to ignore it.
A.A. Ron. So, let's jumping through the plot here. I'm going mostly through one of my notes, but we get introduced to someone here as the I think Big Finish calls them countermeasures unit. These guys, because of course they come back. Captain Gilmore and his crew. So let's just call them countermeasures unit or countermeasures or something, just for simplicity's sake in the podcast. Yeah. I don't think they actually have any name, but anyway, back at Countermeasures HQ, Mike shows up with a new character, a Mr. Ratcliffe, who's offered to lend some of his workers to help out.
Yeah, more like Mr. Rat Bastard.
Yeah, well. as we soon see, him and his men are going to take the wrecked remains of the Dalek from Todder's Lane, and they've killed the soldiers guarding it. So, he's not on the up and up.
Very definitely not. No, he's not on the up and up at all.
But
one other thing about Captain Gilmore, and it's more of a behind-the-scenes thing, he's played by Simon Williams. And that's significant to me personally because my mother has met him.
Because what?
She's met him.
Oh, wow.
Oh, cool.
She
So
spent
you're dead.
I'm going to say this no way it doesn't sound terrible. As part of her work back in the 70s, she got to spend a day with Simon Williams.
So wait, your dad met what's-his-face from Armageddon Factor in a pub. Or Solomon in a pub, or whatever the fuck.
Yeah, he didn't actually go up to him, but yes.
And your mom met Simon Williams from this story.
Yes, I just thought I'd mention it.
That's cute. Oh.
Instead of the 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon, we have to see all the different connections between the people of the UK and Doctor Who.
You're not far wrong. You're not far wrong. Another thing I like about Gilmore is that the Doctor basically blags his way onto the base. He doesn't even get used to psychic paper.
Psychic. It's Sylvester McCoy.
He starts by
seriously
ingratiating himself with Professor Jensen, and then because he's with Jensen, the group captain just doesn't question him that much at first.
May I remind you that in Curse of Fenric, this man walked into a military base and borrowed their stationery and wrote his own authorization papers.
True.
The Seventh Doctor.
That was so good.
That is such a good moment.
It's very easy to see why the 7th Doctor is so beloved.
Yeah, he is fantastic. He is.
He's top 3 Doctor. So speaking of the 7th Doctor, he and Ace are back at Coal Hill, where they meet the Headmaster of Coal Hill.
Yeah.
Who is totally, obviously not under mind control. No.
Nah,
he doesn't get a
fine.
name in the script, so I'm just going to call him Headmaster.
He's actually, I know this bit, he's actually played by an actor called Michael Sheard, who's been in a bunch of Doctor Who, but we've seen him
he does have a name.
Oh, yeah?
What's that?
Harvey Parson.
All right.
Okay, Harvey.
Well, that's not in the, that's never mentioned in the episode, so...
Well,
It's listed in a book called Nothing at the End of the Lane and the audio An Unearthly Woman.
Okay.
Well, anyway, the guy who plays him, Michael Sheard, we've encountered him before. He's I don't remember the character's name. He was the brother of the guy who got possessed in Pyramid of Mars.
Yeah, I don't remember his name, but you're right.
Somebody Scarman.
He has a few appearances in Doctor Who.
Lawrence.
Yeah.
Lawrence Scarman.
Lawrence Scarman, that's the guy.
This was his last.
Yeah.
He's perhaps best known for Grange Hill, where he also played a teacher, and of course for Star Wars.
Oh, and he was Hitler in Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade.
Oh yeah, of course he was.
Oh yeah.
That is such a good scene.
He's the guy who gets like force choked through the view screen in Empire Strikes Back. I remember.
Admiral Ozzel, yeah.
That's the guy, Ozzel. Yeah, and Pierre
Came out
is
of
promoted in his place. Yeah.
Also, Julian Glover's in Empire Strikes Back, so wow, there's a lot of Doctor Who bullshit going on here. But yeah, so the Doctor and Ace are allowed to look around Coal Hill and investigate. And there's a really cute little callback sort of thing here, where they're up in like the chemistry lab or science lab. I don't know what you want to call it.
We can call it the chemistry lab.
Yeah, chemistry lab. The Doctor and Ace are discussing some stuff. And Ace just hops on a table, and what's this book that's sitting here? It's on the French Revolution.
Yeah.
So that's a callback to the first episode.
Yeah.
Of course, it doesn't make... Of course, if you want to get nitpicky, it doesn't make much sense because Susan took the book with her, and then they went God knows fucking where throughout the 60s. But,
well, there could be multiple copies of a book.
Yeah.
Who wants to be pedantic like?
Not me.
It's one of them coinky dinks that I hear so much about.
And there's a fun little bit where Ace.
Wait a minute, sorry, I'm just using the word coinky dink because it's just thrown me completely. Just give me a second.
There's a fun conversation where Ace mentions, but wait, if Daleks were roaming around in 1963, how come I never heard anything about it? And the Doctor just replies, you remember the Zygon Gambit with the Loch Ness Monster or the Yetis in the underground? Humanity is very good at pretending shit didn't happen.
Yeah.
The silence did it. Let's just say
We
that.
also got another really good line from McCoy here. You can always judge a man by the quality of his enemies.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
He gets some
Actually,
really
yeah,
good dialogue.
that is incredibly true.
Yeah.
And at this point, we are getting hints as to what's going on, because the Doctor is mentioning something called the Hand of Omega.
Yet another reference to the past.
Yeah, which will come in a big way. Back at Ratcliffe's, I guess you'd call it Ratcliffe's like headquarters.
Yeah.
Is he still like got
Sure.
a building site or something
He's
going on?
He's like
building contractor?
he's a scrap metal merchant, isn't he? So
Anyway, his boys take the ruined Dalek back to his place, and he heads into his office, and there's a sinister, shadowy, Davros-like figure sitting there in a Dalek chair, talking in an evil voice like this.
yes.
It's not Davros, though. Don't. It's quite obviously not
Oh, yeah.
Davros. Davros
Yeah,
will
you
not
can't-
be appearing in this at all.
Actually, Kat, funny, did you catch the credits on these episodes?
Oh,
No, actually, I
Yeah.
don't
Do you
think
know
I
who
did.
does the voice of this shadowy figure?
I love the trick they play
Uh-oh,
in
who?
part 3 with that, but
Well, the voice is actually, it's John Leeson.
yeah, it's K9.
Oh, I love it. I love it.
He didn't just voice K9 in Doctor Who, he did a lot of different voices.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it. Oh,
It's basically just John Leeson doing like his best Davros impression.
Yeah. And now we get to the last few minutes of part 1, and this is extremely interesting. So the Doctor and Ace are in the school with the headmaster, with Parson.
Yeah.
Yeah, with Parson.
Yep.
Mr.
Parson.
Yeah, who's been told to let the Doctor look around the school by whoever is controlling him.
Not the Daleks, promise.
No. Down in the basement, they find a matter transporter. And then something tries to come through the matter transporter, and it's a Dalek, obviously. And you get this lovely effect where the internal workings of the Dalek can be seen as this thing slowly comes through the transmat, the matter transporter. And the Doctor just fiddles with the machine and makes the two halves of the Dalek go to different points in time, or the same point in time, and destroys it.
Y'all ever see the first Star Trek movie with the transport malfunction?
And
That
also,
just scarred me.
oh my god, and also puts the machine out of commission for the time being.
For the time being.
Yeah, but not for long, because Ace said, well, the Doctor says to Ace, I should say, oh, someone's always going to be here to look after the transporter in case it breaks down. And Ace goes, so that would be another Dalek then.
Yes.
And another Dalek
you
immediately
will be
turns up.
exterminated. Which is wild. So Ace runs up the stairs. Headmaster Dick is right there and knees her in the gut and locks the door in front of the Doctor. And
But
that's
I mean, it's fine. It should be perfectly fine because the Doctor's at the top of a set of stairs, and everybody knows Daleks can't go upstairs.
Oh, wait.
This is A.A. Ronovich just messing with the fan base, and I love it.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
you're calling me Ivanovich.
Well, if you can't beat him.
This is honestly the best cliffhanger that you could possibly ask for, because what happens is that the Dalek starts to float up the fucking stairs.
Yeah.
So good that Robert Shearman took it for like the middle of his episode.
when people first saw the elevate scene in Dalek, they lost their minds.
Oh,
They absolutely lost their fruit, and it turns out it wasn't even original.
No, well, that just goes to show you how little people were watching Doctor Who in the late 80s.
but Dalek is still
Sadly.
fantastic. I watched that during the
It is.
lockdown.
But this is a great cliffhanger.
Yeah, you know how we said that Ascension owes a lot to Earthshock? I think Dalek owes quite a bit to Remembrance.
That I would say that. I mean,
Yeah.
definitely early modern era definitely owes a lot to the late classic era. Just it's a natural evolution, you know.
Yes.
The focus on companion and stuff. But on to part 2. The resolution is that Ace gives Headmaster Parsons a gut punch and unlocks the door. For the
I think she like headbutts him in the stomach, but yes, she subdues the Headmaster, and the door is unlocked, and that's the end of that cliffhanger.
So they lock the door behind the Dalek for as much good as it does. It takes that Dalek quite a bit of time to decide, open the door, open the door. Oh, the hell with this, I'll just blast it off.
I kind of wish Daleks actually spoke like that now. That would be really funny.
We peeked in the dead planet.
I love that. I can't remember the guy's name off the top of my head, but his parody videos are brilliant.
Oh, it's so good. But
he just in that one where he's doing a take on Revolution of the Daleks, and Robertson just gets shot immediately.
Yes,
I mean, what did he think we were going to do?
So, continuing the stuff, luckily, Countermeasures sent an army guy to the school with anti-tank rockets, which the Doctor quickly signs for and gets everything ready. I love the little comedy bit where he takes the pen from the army guy, he signs the authorization form, and he shoves the pen in his his coat pocket, and the army guy's just like,
yeah, that's good.
Oh yeah. So the long and short of this is now Ace has an anti-tank rocket, and the Dalek comes in. You will be exterminated, and Ace gets under a table for cover, and rocket launches this Dalek in the goddamn face.
They caused an
for the fans of this particular fan edit out there, bitches love cannons.
Actually, Kat, I should mention this. For Christmas one year, as I recall, I'm looking at it right now, you gave me an Ace figurine specifically from Remembrance of the Daleks, and she came with a little rocket launcher.
I don't have it on. The script calls it an anti-tank grenade instead of a rocket launcher, because it totally is like a rocket launcher, but
it's anti-tank rockets, ATRs. Yeah. But I don't have her with the rocket launcher right now. I have her with the other weapon in this story that we will get into.
Yes,
the glorious
that's great.
Thing.
Yes.
For many, that is a defining moment.
Actually, we get to talk about it a little because Countermeasure shows up and sees this Dalek. Actually, I should mention because it's going to come up, the Dalek that they blew up in Totter's Lane was black. And the Dalek that was running around the school here that just got its face melted off with a rocket launcher is a white Dalek.
It's always the same. The black Dalek always dies first.
Oh my god.
Technically, it was a grey Dalek, not a black one, but yes. So there was something strange going on here with the Daleks.
Well, yeah, and the Doctor's clearly concerned about this. This isn't going according to plan. But Countermeasures shows up and they're examining the Dalek. And the Doctor basically borrows Ace's baseball bat and heads off to do his own bullshit for the night, leaving Ace to head to Mike Smith's boarding house for the evening.
There's a couple of things about this that I really like. Firstly, I love the fact that Sylvester McCoy shows great anger at Group Captain Gilmore's disbelief about alien technology.
Oh, yeah.
McCoy shows a lot of anger in this story.
He's basically wanting Gilmore to evacuate the area because, oh shit, there's something bad. There's bad shit going on. Things are spiraling just a little. And
then secondly, there's a little bit where he says to Ace, you've not been born yet, and Jensen and her assistant, who is Alison Williams, I think, over here, it's like, what do you mean you haven't been born yet? And Ace is just like knowing smile at the camera as it cuts away.
I want to mention that you know Ace. You've seen her in the pictures by now. She's got all those badges on her jacket. I noticed in the final part, and actually, is it on her figure? It is on the goddamn figure. On her left on her left shoulder is a badge with 1987 on it.
Okay.
So it's pretty obvious broadcasting what's going on here.
I do know that Sophie Aldred got into trouble with John Nathan Turner because she kept adding badges to the jacket.
Oh, damn. Yeah.
And
There's a lot of neat badges
at one
on
point,
that jacket.
he was smoking, and apparently she's sensitive to cigarette smoke.
Mm-hmm.
So she said, would you mind not smoking? And he said something like, what was it? Look at the camera, you ditzy cow, or something?
What the fuck?
Yeah.
Wow.
Wow.
Now, we only have
asshole.
one person's account of this. We only have one side of this, but if that's true, oof.
Big oof. Can we talk about this low-key little speech that happens now?
You mean the cafe scene?
Yeah, the cafe scene.
Oh, I love the cafe scene.
So the doctor heads to the cafe. It's not the guy that was working there when Ace was there, but it's a different guy who's actually, I don't know if you know this, but the guy working the cafe actually showed up later on television as the butler Jeffrey in The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
He never did.
He did. It's the same guy.
It's the same. What?
Yeah.
Wow, that is a mind blower.
Nice.
Anyway, the doctor's ordering a cup of tea, and so the cafe guy, I don't think he has a name in the script.
John.
Cafe guy asks him, John, asks him if he wants some sugar. And it's just like, would it make any difference? Make your tea sweeter? Beyond the confines of my taste buds? Not really. And so the doctor goes into this little speech about, what if I could make it so people didn't like sugar? And it's this whole speech about how every decision creates ripples in time and all this stuff. It's neat. It's a slow, contemplative thing because he knows what he's up to with his plot here.
I'll be damned. Joseph Marceau played Jeffrey in The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. I owe you an apology.
Yeah.
I told you. I accept. But yeah. So it's a slow, contemplative little quiet scene where the doctor's thinking about, oh, geez. Because this is one of the few times, this is really the first time for Sylvester McCoy that his doctor has been coming to the story with like foreknowledge and a chess game, master chess, master plan in his head the minute he gets here in 63.
Yeah.
Because before this, we watched episodes like Dragonfire or Delta and the Banner, where he's sort of just a kooky weirdo. Which is a fun characterization. I like those episodes mostly, but this is the iconic Seventh Doctor, Master Manipulator. First time he shows up. So he's got this quiet, contemplative moment where he's like, oh yeah, I'm really committing to this, aren't I? It's a big decision.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, back at the school,
Who?
prepared the transmat, unbeknownst to countermeasures. And while the guard is just patrolling the basement, the transmat's activating and beaming in more Daleks. Very bad.
Oh, well.
Yeah. And that's where we get that effect again, where you can sort of see their internalized workings. It's really rather cool.
Yeah.
Then we get the scene in The Undertaker.
Undertaker, yeah.
This
the next morning
this
the
is
Undertakers.
full on Gonzo. This is full on Gonzo weirdness, and I love it.
Go ahead.
So the
Set it up.
the Doctor visited Undertaker, and previously he has ordered a casket, this mysterious casket. But the Undertaker was a bit confused because he's on the phone saying, it's the Doctor, but the last time the Doctor came, I thought he was an old geezer with white hair. So this is referring to the fact that he was in his Hartnell incarnation, his first incarnation. Ooh. Don't give me the time as children. His first incarnation, William Hartnell.
Yeah.
And while he's on the phone, the Doctor takes Ace's baseball bat, says something to the casket.
I know one.
And puts it in there. And there's this sort of mystical mist effect And then something has happened to the bat, but you don't quite see what it is just yet. But something has happened to the bat.
So, cat?
Yes.
What is that?
Nothing. Just let's keep going.
I don't know
Okay.
what you were humming, but you were humming something. I think you also briefly killed the audio on my end, so thanks for that.
So, hovering like 4 feet above the floor? Also weird.
Yes, the doctor's
Yeah.
used to this.
The poor Undertaker just faints on the floor.
He's the doctor just walks by, tips his hat. Guy's still on the phone. He's like, "But doctor, what about your casket?" And this and this like chroma keyed in casket is just floating by him. He just looks at it, faints on the spot.
I will say, as much as I like the idea of the casket, the CGI for it is a bit ropey.
Well, I mean, it's literally just a green screen.
It's maybe the
It's
one
not even
element of
CGI.
this that doesn't hold up in 2021.
It's like fine for the time. It's for the
Yeah.
since it's implicating obviously the Hand of Omega is a thing that the first Doctor left here in '63, and also the Daleks are after it. So, in a way, this kind of explains, or rather, gives a plausible explanation for why the first Doctor took off with Ian and Barbara and was like, "Oh, they can't know about the TARDIS," because he was afraid they might find the Hand of Omega if people started snooping around.
Yeah. It's a retcon, but it's a retcon that works.
Yep.
So, unlike some retcons,
Yeah.
Better than making the doctor into a complete jackass.
Yeah.
yeah, but which I mean, he was, but he learned. He got better over
Got
time.
better
But yeah,
over time,
that's
and then when they
that's
brought him back
interesting.
for certain episodes, he got worse.
The whole point of
Oh,
Unearthly Child is that
yeah.
the Doctor
Yeah.
is the starting point for the Doctor, and he grows from there.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're going to mention, but Mike's with Ace, and he mentions the association.
That's the point of that,
That
but-
can't be good. And as you'll find out not too long after, the association is definitely not good. But while that's going on, and the poor Undertaker has fainted because of the floating casket,
The association is Ratcliffe.
yes, the association is Ratcliffe, and he's after the Hand of Omega as well. He's like reporting to this mysterious
Discount
Davros-like
Davros here in
figure,
the chair.
yeah, and we must have the Hand of Omega, and so he says we're going to find it, and my man is already onto it.
And Discount Davros is just like, "Are you sure you want to do this? There's going to be a lot of deaths." And Ratcliffe's just like, "Oh well, war is hell." But yeah,
Yeah, and we get more of
the Doctor, meanwhile,
we get
is,
more of Ratcliffe's motivation
he's
later on. but
taken
yeah,
the Hand of
Doctor.
Omega. Go ahead.
No, I'm just saying that we get more of Ratcliffe's motivations later on in this part. But yeah, the Doctor has taken the casket to
Oh yeah, we'll get to that.
to a churchyard.
I have
He's taken the
a
casket to a
blind
churchyard.
vicar,
Yeah,
which is helpful.
the poor vicar is blind.
Yeah.
So this blind vicar, yeah, he's just like, "Oh well, we hadn't heard from you in a month or so. I was wondering what's going on. Oh yeah, I had some business to take care of. You sound different. Oh yeah, a lot of change there. And your pallbearers are pretty quiet, silent as ghosts.
I love
Oh
that.
yeah."
There's a nice
So the-
like a
so
knowing
the
nod and a
implication
wink
the
here
first
in the
Doctor obviously
in the
said,
dialogue. But yes, he buries the casket, or he has the
Yeah.
casket buried.
So the first Doctor obviously set up this whole. Yeah, he buries the casket. Yeah, so the first Doctor set this up, and Seven's back here in '63 to, you know.
Unfortunately,
And
the hand
so-
is not going to it's not going
so
to remain
his
buried
man
for long
has found-
because back to that whole association thing. Turns out Ratcliffe's man is Mike.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mike Smith is the traitor.
And Hanan, Mike Smith was ejected.
He doesn't get ejected till part 4, but
Yeah. Well, we'll get to that. But also, the headmaster is on Mike's tail and tries to wrestle him. And we don't see what happens, but there's a deleted scene where there's Dalek dialogue giving the orders. And the Daleks basically just hit the kill switch on the
in one
headmaster.
version of this story, the Dalek dialogue is all edited out. And this is the one that I've watched, but there is another one where there is dialogue saying terminate, or words to that effect, and the headmaster dies.
Yeah.
Oh, the poor headmaster.
He's also trying to interrogate Mike. He's just like, "Where is the renegade Dalek faction? Where are the enemies of the Imperials?"
Yeah.
Because surprise, but Black and White Daleks are actually two different factions of Dalek.
Yeah.
We have Ratcliffe working for the Renegades, the Black Daleks, and then the headmaster was part of the Imperial Daleks, the White Daleks.
Yeah.
Yep.
And okay, yeah. So back at the boarding house, Mike and the doctor returned to Mike. Mike found him off screen, just like wandering. He says, "I found him wandering around. I wasn't wandering around. I was taking in the local culture." Mm-hmm. And he hands Ace back her bat, which is now a super bat.
Yeah, and it shocks the doctor briefly when he pulls it out.
Mm-hmm.
We don't quite know what's going on with that yet, but we will.
We will. And everyone goes off to Countermeasures HQ, but Mike, I don't know what he's doing here. He's got a telegram or like a phone message or something. He wants the group captain Gilmore wants everyone to come back to HQ. Oh, but he said Ace is supposed to stay here. And when Ace tries to look at the note, he just like closes it. I don't know what he's doing there.
Yeah, was this him trying to keep her out of it?
Keep the bat away.
Maybe I don't.
Maybe.
Does Mike ever see the bat?
I don't know.
Because if he saw the bat, he could be trying to keep the upgraded weapon away from whatever's going on.
Yeah. So
actually, I think he says.
Bat.
Yeah. I'm not sure.
Yeah, that knows about the bat, or he genuinely cares about Ace.
He does care about Ace, but yeah. So they all head off, and Ace is left behind. So what's Ratcliffe's motivation? Oh, he's a fascist.
Yeah.
No, literally, he is a fascist.
Yeah, he was jailed for speaking out of World War II. He said that we were on the wrong side, and when I tried to speak out, they imprisoned me. So that's his motivation. He's a fascist, and unfortunately,
he's that kind of person.
So is Mike's mum, because on her B&B, or in her B&B, there is a no-coloured sign.
That's not fascism. That's racism.
All right. Well, neither of them are particularly good people. So let's put it that way.
Yeah. So this is actually a really good scene. There's a lot to talk about. Ace is just sitting there. Actually, I want to go back because what Mike says to Ace is very of the time. This story is unashamed to show what the time was really like back then. Because when Mike and them leaves, he's just like, "Okay, we're all heading out. We'll be back at 6, Ace. Have dinner on."
But Ben Aronovich was very much not trying to sugarcoat the realities of this time period, which I appreciate.
Which brings us to this scene you're talking about, where Ace, she's just sitting up. She's sort of bored because nothing's happening. Turns on the TV, smacks it after a second that not happened because TVs back then needed to warm up. And she takes a look out the window, sees a sign hanging on the window, turns it, and it indeed says the thing that you said.
Yeah, no colours.
So, segregated boarding house.
Yeah, and she's
racist.
Very disdainful about this, and immediately leaves the B&B. And just as she leaves the B&B, we get a nice little sort of meta joke.
Yeah, she's turned on the TV to BBC, and it's just like and the continuity and or whatever. And coming up at 5:15 on BBC, another episode of the exciting science fiction serial Duck.
Yeah, they get the D out, and then I just realized what I said there.
Yeah.
They get the D out. Oh,
So
God.
that leads us. So this leads us into part 2's cliffhanger, which is fucking rad as
It is.
shit.
It's not even the cliffhanger. It's the
Okay.
bit before that. So...
Oh, well, okay, so at Countermeasures HQ, all we really need to set up is that the Doctor is crafting up a Dalek stun gun that'll disorientate Daleks. But then they get a call that, oh, there's no contact from people at Coal Hill, and oh, Mike just called the boarding house. Ace isn't there. Uh-oh.
She went for a walk.
So with that, she went for a walk, and she ends up back at the school because she forgot her tape deck. And she goes to get her tape deck back from the chemistry lab and turns it on, and she's tuned right into Dalek FM because the basement is crawling with Imperial Daleks. So she has a little hide as a Dalek comes in. And this is the greatest fucking scene.
Yeah, so the Dalek blasts the poor old tape deck into 1,000 pieces.
That fantastic.
The Dalek blasts the tape deck, and he says, I actually use this as a gag in your solo review of what the hell is that episode? Ghost Monument.
Yeah.
I use this. The Dalek just it knows Ace is around. I guess it caught sight of Ace. And the Dalek just goes, small human female sighted on level 3. Ace just yells, who are you calling small? And starts beating the shit out of this Dalek with an alien tech-enhanced baseball bat, just smashing round things and little domes off of it. As
she blinds it. She knocks the eye stalk clean off.
She blasts the fucking eye stalk off, then power slides under the table as this blind Dalek starts shooting, culminating in her running towards the goddamn pane glass window that leads out into the corridor and jumping straight fucking through it.
Ace is the best.
She is. She might be the most badass companion in the show, actually, at this point. This is a defining moment for Sophie Aldred and Ace's standing, should we say, in the Doctor Who fan community. Every time people point to Ace's good
points... If I read the script and said, scene, my character beats the living fuck out of a Dalek. Oh, fuck, I am so glad I joined this job. But yeah, the cliffhanger is basically her running from Daleks, hitting them with the soup bat. And she ends up trying to take a gun, but she ends up down in like one of the lower levels. I think it's like a garage or something. And she's surrounded by Daleks. And they're just like, exterminate, exterminate, exterminate. And
yeah,
shit.
She pulls out one of the anti-tank grenades and she drops it and she's like, close her eyes and like, this is the end.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's end part 2.
Part 3 then, again, much like the resolution to the cliffhanger of part 1, the resolution to the cliffhanger of part 2, the Doctor just saves this in the nick of time, basically.
With his sparkle gun!
Yeah, and then the Daleks are destroyed with explosives.
And when the Doctor goes to investigate one of the blowed up shells, oh god, there's a claw! Oh god, Allison, get the bat, make it die!
Yeah, Allison treats this Dalek like it's a pestle and mortar. The way she beats this thing to death with a baseball bat. Well, she is a scientist, so it makes sense.
Grind that garlic clove, Allison, grind it!
If you're grinding garlic in a pestle and mortar, you're doing cookery wrong. I hate to inform you.
I just said the first thing that popped in my mind.
It showed.
I've never used one of those things.
It showed.
Oh, great. Now Gordon Ramsay's going to call me a fucking donkey.
Well, it's okay. Gordon Ramsay will not do it, but I can do it for you right now, you fucking donkey.
Yes, thank you, Kat.
You're welcome.
You call that a bloody critique of Doctor Who, do you?
Kat, are you going to put 2 pieces of bread up to my head and ask me what I am?
Yes. And what are you, Frez?
A mirror sandwich?
Oh!
Close enough.
Kat,
Back to the episode.
Kat, I think there's a button on your soundboard for just the mood I'm feeling right now.
Anyways, Daleks are doing shit.
So the Imperial Daleks have techno enhancements for their organic living component, the Dalek blobs, if you will. That'll come up later.
Yes, it will.
And we also get a shot of their mothership, where they're doing stuff in space, in orbit. Ooh, very exciting.
Well, technically, we also got a shot of this in the cold open, where they did a very Star Wars.
Oh yeah. So it is. Yeah, but we're like on the bridge now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, anyway, who wants to see more of the Super Bat smashing things?
Me, I do.
Yeah,
Me.
sadly, it's the
the
last
doctor's
time
gonna
we see
smash
the
that
Super Bat
transmitter.
smashing things.
Because, the Super Bat, the Doctor uses it to smash the transmat to holy hell, but it also blows up the Super Bat because, way too much power in a little tiny piece of, metal. So.
Super Bat, we barely knew thee.
Which is great because Allison and Rachel are down here in the basement with him as they're investigating the transmat, and then the Doctor smashes it to shit and breaks the bat. He turns around and they're just sitting there, jaws dropped, and he just puts his hands under their chins, puts their jaws back up. Hey, let's go get a bite to eat.
Yeah, we also get a bit of explanation for who the professor is. So she's a civilian professor, but she was conscripted to be Captain Gilmore's scientific advisor, which is a bad position to be in because he just doesn't listen to scientific advice.
That's unfortunate.
I assume also her assistant was also conscripted.
Yeah. Mr. Ratcliffe, meanwhile, is doing a little recce at the graveyard where the Doctor has buried the Hand of Omega.
Yeah.
Finds the grave with its weird symbol, which is not a Greek Omega symbol, but it's, probably just an alien Time Lord thing on the headstone.
I can confirm that's not a Greek letter that I know of.
Yeah. Anyway, he gets a piece of metal and he sticks it down in the ground to see if there's a coffin buried there. But when the metal touches the coffin, it shocks him. I guess it's the same sort of energy as in the Super Bat, which helpfully the Imperial Dalek mothership picks up the alien tech and it's like, oh, holy fuck, we found it. We found the fucking Hand of Omega.
Not quite in that
I really wish
those
I
words,
spoke
but
like
yes.
Bugger. Yeah, but...
Oh no, it's a bloody call center.
So Ratcliffe gets his hired goons to dig up the Hand of Omega.
Not hired
All while
goons.
that mysterious
Whatever
little
will we do?
All while that mysterious little girl keeps watching him, and Ratcliffe's like, don't you have somewhere to be?
I love that the girl's got her own musical cue.
It's like evil Ring Around the Rosie.
It is Ring Around the Rosie, yeah. But it's instrumental. It sounds really sinister, and it works perfectly for her.
Oh, yeah.
And she's just credited as the girl, but I'll call the little girl because we know you know who I mean.
Yeah.
Back on the Imperial Dalek bridge, then we get our first appearance of the Emperor, the Imperial Emperor Dalek, with a voice that sounds.
Also, her name is Judith Winters.
Yeah, that's in expanded universe material, but she's just the girl in the credits.
Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, we get our first look at the Imperial Emperor Dalek with a voice that sounds strangely familiar. Can't quite put my finger on where I've heard it before, but it can't be anything.
It's John Leeson. Wait.
Yeah, no, it can't be anything because it gives you the voice actor. It's somebody I've never heard of. It's Roy Tremelli, I think.
Who the hell is that?
I have no idea. I think this was his first job. But,
Either way, it's around this point of the episode that we get a bit of a lore dump as to what the Doctor's deal here is and what the Hand of Omega is. So the Doctor's plan is, I've got this noted here, his plan is basically to keep the military occupied while he does his shit involving the Daleks. He actually wants the Daleks to get the Hand of Omega for reasons that will become apparent later.
Yeah.
But the problem is that there are two factions of Daleks.
Yeah,
so
he didn't
has to
anticipate that
ensure-
into his calculations.
So he has to ensure that the quote-unquote right Dalek faction gets its hands on the Hand of Omega.
And I think the implication is that right now the wrong faction has it.
Yeah.
Well, as we'll find out, the one that he wanted to take it were the Imperials.
Yeah.
But right now, Renegades. So, as we find out, the Doctor finally sits down in the school and explains to Ace that the Hand of Omega is literally a device that Omega used. We remember Omega from the Three Doctors.
Yep.
Refer back to that episode if you don't know who Omega is.
Link will be down below.
Yeah.
This is actually the
More
device.
Brainiac.
This is actually the device he used to create the Eye of Harmony, a remote stellar manipulator that made time travel possible for the Time Lords of ancient Gallifrey.
Yeah.
And there's a little interesting hint that the Doctor says here, where he mentions all this, and where he goes, "Huh, and didn't we have trouble with the prototype? We, Doctor? They. Which,
Yeah.
that is the first clue of the so-called Cartmel Master Plan, which was the late 80s, and then once the show got canceled, the novels take on the Doctor Who lore.
We also get a nice little line from the
Which-
Doctor in this whole scene where he's explaining things to Ace, where he says, Time Lords have an infinite capacity for pretension.
Yeah.
That sounds like the Doctor, actually.
The dialogue is just fantastic throughout this. It really is.
It is. Good job,
It's good.
Ron.
He's just AA Ron now. He's lost the Orvich of his name. He's just
Oh,
AA Ron.
Oh my god. God damn it, Key and Peele.
Well, because, I mean, he's been A.A. Ronovich, so now he's just A.A. Ron.
I was about to say, does he work for WWE because he just lost his surname? But
God. But yeah, this was the first hints of something mysterious going on with the adding a bit of an air of mystery to the Doctor and his origins, which somebody didn't get the memo for. And some 30 years later.
Yeah.
It's not like we're mentioning names or anything. However, I will say that if a certain somebody who we also still won't mention also happens to make the Daleks talk like, Frez has been making them talk throughout this entire episode, I probably will forgive him for all of his crimes against Doctor Who. Just saying.
oh my god.
Just
So,
saying.
I won't get into any weird
Coming
theories
soon
about
from
how you
Big Finish,
could,
Daleks After Hours.
There's a way that you could try and tie the Cartmel Master Plan in with the current lore revelations we're
But we're not going
stuck
to
with.
because fuck it.
Yeah, we're not going to because fuck it. I mean, we don't.
We're not, no.
We can just talk. We can just talk about a perfectly good Doctor Who episode right here.
Yeah, and we can also talk about massacres, because one's about to happen. So, Ratcliffe's men have got the casket with the Hand of Omega inside of it and got it back to the Renegade Daleks. And there are orders to be exterminated, because of course it is. This is what the Daleks do.
Yeah.
And Ratcliffe is horrified by this, and he complains to the mysterious figure, and the mysterious figure turns around, takes his helmet off, and it's the girl!
What a twist!
Such a twist.
And she goes from talking like John Leeson to talking like a little girl again, which is really creepy.
Yeah, the switch is really creepy.
So this is why this little girl has been around all the various happenings, because she is in fact well, she's not the leader of the Renegade Dalek faction, but she's a key part of it. She's a top agent within the
She's
Renegade
the one
Dalek
put
faction.
in charge of running this operation by somebody
Can
else.
we talk about the time controller now?
Yeah, can we just talk about her as a Van de Graaff generator?
I love low budget Doctor Who. So the little girl pulls this thing on the Ratcliffe's desk. It's a time controller, which is going to let them travel forward in time, I guess, with the Hand of Omega in tow. And their time vehicle is not like a little TARDIS or some sort of vortex manipulator or anything. No, it's a goddamn plasma ball that you'd see at a science fair.
Yeah, it's a Van de Graaff generator.
Yeah.
We had one at my school.
Fantastic.
Oh god.
There was a Van de Graaff generator in
I
the
will
science
say
laboratory at my
those things are
school.
cool. Those things are cool, but they're not exactly time controller cool. I'm sorry.
Things that are time machines in Doctor Who. A 60s police telephone box. Some bullshit the Cybermen put on a space freighter. A
tree.
Van de Graaff generator.
A tree.
A tree, yeah.
Wait, a tree? What?
Come on.
And the last bit of Timeless Children.
Come on, you know what she's talking about.
The TARDIS turns into a tree.
So there's also an interesting bit where the Doctor has broken into the yard because at this point Reckless has been taken away by the girl and the Daleks to be executed, and the Doctor breaks in, and there's a bit of exposition between him and Ace about the Daleks, and he says something like the Daleks run on logic, which is an interesting comparison with Earthshock, where the Cybermen also run on logic.
That's sad that a Dalek story is a better Cyberman story than Earthshock.
I mean,
Yeah, it's also complete bullshit too.
it kind of is actually if you think about it. But anyway, the time controller is disabled by the Doctor, and he just leaves his calling card on top of it. Like, literally just takes out this little piece of card and puts it on and it's like, ha, I've done this, come and get me.
It's so good.
It is great.
As,
This is McCoy being a troll.
did Doctor Who leave this or the fucking Riddler?
The
I
Riddler?
can totally imagine the Seventh Doctor going up to like the cyber controller and leaving a kick me sign on his back.
Oh my god. But yeah, the Doctor and co head back, and they meet up with Mike just outside the school, and he asks Ace out to the pictures. How lovely! Here come renegade Daleks. And this is when, once they get back into the school, Mike has a little slip up.
Yeah, I've just got my notes. Mike puts his foot in it. So
he just says
he mentions the Hand of Omega, which.
And the Doctor's like, wait, how do you know they had the Hand of Omega? Ace told me. And Ace loses her shit.
Yeah.
Well,
toe rag.
I'm sure that Mike is very glad she no longer has the bat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would have been his face.
She calls him a toe rag. I think she calls him a sewer rat at one point. All the names under the sun, basically. But yeah, Mike exposed himself as a traitor because he talked about the Hand of Omega, which the Doctor hadn't referred to in the presence of anybody but Ace.
Whoops.
And Ace takes this about as well as can be imagined.
Yeah. So the Renegades, they have a little shootout with the guys, including one great stunt shot where some guy's behind like sandbags with a machine gun, and an explosion behind him hurls him over the sandbags. It wasn't surprising
that was somehow tip-tipping again, really.
Fucking tip-tipping, getting all the good stunts. It's just like, okay, so in this scene we need to blow shit up and throw somebody 20 feet in front of the screen.
I volunteer. I'll do it.
I don't know. I don't know if he did that one as well, but he did a lot of the falls and really good stunts. I'll tell you, he did the falls for Sophie Aldred though. The stunts for Sophie Aldred.
Who's that?
Sophie Aldred.
Oh hell yeah! She really jumped through that fucking window.
We've tipped. There was a stunt woman on the set, and she does some of the work, but a lot of Ace's stunts were done by Sophie Aldred at her insistence, and she formed a kind of a bond with Tipping, who talked her through it all.
Nice.
She also learned how to fire a gun for the scene where she has to fire a rocket at a Dalek. So yeah, she put in the work for this.
Hands on, yeah.
She put in the work.
After the little gunfight, the Renegade Daleks get the order to retreat, which Ace calls
you've skipped ahead
And
a
our
little
parts in
bit.
Cliffhanger.
The shootout doesn't happen until part 4, but yeah, our cliffhanger this time.
Oh, go ahead.
Here comes an Imperial Dalek shuttle, and the captain's like, "Is it going to land in the school? No, it's too far away from the action." And then, of course, it just lands in the damn school.
And the doctor peeks up, and he's just like, "I might have miscalculated."
Roll credits.
It's the weakest cliffhanger, but when your cliffhanger
It's funny,
game
though.
is as
It's
strong,
funny.
It's funny. It's funny, but when your cliffhanger game is as strong as it's been for parts 1 and 2, like a little low-key cliffhanger like that
Ace nearly gets fried by the engines of said shuttle as well.
It's like, how are you supposed to beat out a Dalek floating up the stairs and Ace being badass?
You can't.
You don't even try. You just make it funny.
You can't follow that. You
Yeah.
just can't.
So, the final part, then.
Yeah.
This final part. Holy
If
shit.
you've considered the first 3 parts as setting up part 4, this is where everything just ramps up to 11. It's wild.
So the Imperial boys come out of the shuttle, ready to get those renegades and get back the Hand of Omega.
Yeah. Say it with me, people.
Renegades who had it made.
Say it with me. Dalek Civil War.
Yay!
And I don't mean the Marvel movie.
Good.
Yeah. and the Renegades actually win this first battle. They destroy a couple of Imperial Daleks, and the remaining Imperials retreat.
Oh,
Yep.
they win this battle, but the Imperials have a plan.
Oh, yes. And their plan is the best Dalek.
Oh, well, I think we're getting ahead of ourselves a little here.
Well yeah, because first Mike's got to get arrested.
Well, first
Yeah.
we got to deal with the Doctor, Ace, and the remaining members of the countermeasures group actually getting onto the Imperial shuttle.
The Doctor's going to do a little bit, as he says, a little bit of piracy.
Yeah.
Where he tosses like a rope from the chemistry lab onto the roof of the Dalek mothership, takes his umbrella, and just slides onto it.
I love it. So
And there's one Dalek left in there in the mothership, and it's just like, "You are the Doctor! You are an enemy of the Daleks!" And he just hacks the Dalek, hacks the ground defenses on the ship, and does some other bullshit.
He shorts out the controller Dalek.
Yeah. I do want to mention, there's a scene where, early on here, it's before this, according to my notes, where Mike tries to talk to Ace again.
Yeah, this is where he gets arrested.
He accidentally sort of reveals his true colors. If you look real close to the line, like, the show doesn't actually, like, say a bunch of bullshit, but the way that he's talking, so I want to just quote Mike directly. He says, "I thought it was the right thing. Mr. Ratcliffe had such great plans, Ace. I never really wanted to hurt anybody. It's just that you had to protect your own. Keep the outsiders out, just so that your own people can have a fair chance. That's fascist talk to me."
I cringed
that's
so
pretty
hard
racist.
at Keep the Outsiders
That's
Out.
pretty racist.
That's some fascist talk.
That's
So Ace rightly doesn't want anything to do with him, and she
yeah.
tells him where to go, and Group Captain Gilmore has Mike placed under arrest.
All these racists, and we have but one Doctor to punch them all.
He's placed
actually,
under
the one
what's
doing
called
the punch-
close arrest. So he's basically
Well,
placed
the one
under
doing punching
one
actually
guard.
is
One
Mike.
soldier guards him. That doesn't work out very well. But
Yeah,
now-
the guard goes to make tea, and Mike gets up and wallops him in the face and
Yeah.
escapes.
I had a horrible thought because
It's always tea that gets them
he
over.
falls on top of the transmat, and I thought, what would happen if a Dalek came through the transmat while the guard was on top of it?
Teleporter malfunction. You ever see the movie The Fly?
Yeah, that would not be a good way to go. But now can we talk about
God,
best?
we would get the hybrid Dalek several years early.
Yeah,
Actually, you remember Revelation of the Daleks, where that guy was turning into a Dalek and he was just a head in a Dalek?
yes,
Yeah.
Same thing.
I guess.
Oh.
Can we now talk about the best Dalek boy?
Let me just check my notes and see if we got nothing else. Oh yeah, we can talk.
Yeah.
That's
So the Imperials have lost the first battle. They've taken a few casualties. The Emperor's not having this shit, and he deploys the Special Weapons Dalek.
Yay!
I love everything about the Special Weapons Dalek. It's just a reinforced shell with a big cannon on the end of it. There's no plunger. There's no ice storm. It's just a cannon.
It's a tank. It's basically just a tank.
And it
Even more tank-like than
absolutely
the Dalek
wrecks the Renegades. In one
There's
shot.
nothing fucking left of these renegades.
It absolutely vaporizes the Renegades.
Jesus Christ.
Oh, jeez.
I wish this thing had made more appearances. It's so good.
Incredible. Actually, I think it had a cameo in Asylum of the
It had a
Daleks,
cameo in
but
Asylum,
being
but
Asylum.
it barely did anything. I wanted to see this thing show up again, but
Yeah.
this design,
But-
I love everything about this damn thing.
It's,
Actually,
it's so wild.
when the 10th Doctor was John Smith, he actually drew a special weapons Dalek in his journal.
Ah,
Oh, wild.
that's nice.
So there's that.
So, back at Mike, he's run back to Ratcliffe's to hole up with his fasci buddies, but he gets ambushed because he goes to walk through the gates. And a bunch of renegades shut the gates behind him and are like, oh, don't move, you will be exterminated, and bullshit like that. But now he and Mike are, now he and Mr. Ratcliffe are both prisoners, and Ratcliffe, being the rat master that he is basically looking at the time control like, if we had that, we could bargain for power.
Yeah. Mike thinks this is going to bargain for their lives. No, we could do anything we want with that. He said, you still have to pay after all this time. But he goes along with it. So the Daleks and the girl go out outside the junkyard again. The time controller is now fully active again, thanks to the girl. And just as they're about to activate it, there's a big explosion.
Oh, wait. The gate was just vaporized. Who could have done such a thing?
Well,
It's Best Boy again.
It's special weapon. Yeah, they're also the renegades are also just about to exterminate Mike and Ratcliffe because fuck you. That's why. But they're interrupted by
Yeah.
special weapons Dalek. And this is where Ratcliffe sees his chance. As soon as that gate blows up, he just yoinks that time controller and tries to run for it. But he forgot one thing. That little girl, what did you say her last name wasn't, Ken?
Judith Winters.
it was
Judith Winters? I think you got that wrong. I think her name is Judith Palpatine because she force lightnings Ratcliffe to death.
There is no explanation why this girl can do this. You know what? I don't need one. This is great.
So Ratcliffe is just running up a bunch of stairs, and all of a sudden the little girl just and Ratcliffe is just he's done. He's dead.
Oh, what a shame.
Oh no, what a shame. There's a dead fascist on the floor. Whatever shall we do?
Yeah, but Mike manages to take the time controller and hide. While the Imperials destroy all the remaining renegade Daleks.
Well, the Imperials, by which you mean the Special Weapons Dalek.
Oh yeah, the Imperials. Yes,
The Special Weapons does all the heavy lifting. Play of the game, Special Weapons Dalek.
We're banning him, just like Oddjob in GoldenEye.
But either way, the Imperials now have the Hand Omega.
Yeah.
And the Emperor's like all happy about this, but of course the Doctor contacts him, is like, hey, no, can I have that back?
Oh well, we're skipping ahead a little. There's some things go on here. First of all, being that Ace gets a unique explanation for the Dalek Civil War. which is, she describes it in terms of racial purity, because the renegade Daleks are pure Daleks, and the Imperial Daleks have cybernetic enhancements. So, as she puts
White
it,
and black.
yeah, we're not being subtle with
It's
this.
really heavy-handed.
Yeah. But, yeah, that's basically the explanation. One lot of Daleks, as she says, hates the other lot because they're too different.
Yeah.
So, Dalek Civil War.
But it's the way she says it, like, she
And
compares it to blobbiness.
Blobbiness. It's a great little analogy, yeah.
It's not a bad way to sort of sugarcoat racial divides for an audience of children, actually.
Yeah.
This story does not shy away from the hard parts, but it also doesn't state it outright, and I think that's the balancing act. It gets it right.
So the Doctor and Ace head back to Recce Ratcliffe's yard just to make sure that the right set of Daleks, quote unquote right, have the Hand of Omega. But as they just hide and watch the Daleks go off with it, they see Mike take the time controller from Ratcliffe and run away, which could fuck everything up. So the Doctor has Ace tail Mike while he goes back to the school to deal with the Dalek problem.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so this leads to, this leads to our climax, which is the Doctor. He has Rachel and Allison lug a television down to the basement with the transmat, and he hotwires some bullshit with some bullshit. And we get a 1963 era Zoom call with the Dalek mothership.
You're on mute, Emperor Dalek. You're on mute.
And who could have guessed who the Imperial Emperor of the Daleks actually is? I'm stunned. I am shocked. I am in awe. It's Davros.
It's me, Austin! It was me all along, Austin.
What's a shot?
Did anybody think it was not Davros? I mean,
What's a shot? Roy Trembley's voice turns out to be exactly the same voice as Terry Malloy.
My God.
It's almost like Roy Trembley is an anagram of Terry Malloy, because that's exactly what it is. They were hiding Malloy's presence in this serial with a bit of wordplay.
I guess we'll deal with the Davros confrontation here, and then Ace's plot after that.
Oh God,
they're sort of
yes.
intertied, but
This deserves
it's
to
more
be
interesting.
This deserves to be treated in its own full glory, because this is the best.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's either this or Ace
So-
Assault in the Dalek is the best part of this whole story.
So we have a little chin wag between the Doctor and Davros. You know, he's faced Davros so many goddamn times at this point. So Davros wants to use the Hand of Omega to supercharge Scarro's son, give the Daleks the power of the Time Lords, and he even says he wants to overthrow the Time Lord. Ooh. Second shot of the Time War confirmed?
Yeah, we'll get to that in a moment, but yes, you're right.
And it does lead to one of the all-time great McCoy lines, where Davros is ranting about sweeping away Gallifrey and its incorrigible decorum of Time Lords. With the Hand, the Daleks will be all-powerful, all-conquering. And actually, I got the transcript here. I can just read it, can't I?
Please do.
Yep.
Where the hell is it?
justice.
The Daleks shall become lords of time. We shall become all. And the Doctor interrupts, and I quote, all-powerful, crush the lesser races, conquer the galaxy, unimaginable power, unlimited rice pudding, etc., etc.
It's the way he spits out unlimited rice pudding, just the disdain in his voice. And the whole thing about this confrontation is that Malloy and McCoy...
Of course, the whole entire time...
Yeah.
Malloy and
You
McCoy.
have to remember the whole entire time that Davros has the Hand.
Yeah.
He could do whatever the hell he wants, so it's like, everybody's like, the fuck is the Doctor doing? Stop it!
But yeah, then Davros is like, okay, fuck you, I'm using the goddamn Hand, you fucker. At which point the Doctor sort of backs down and he's like, Davros, I beg you, don't use the Hand, please. But he's not convinced. Davros is pissed off. Activate the Omega device! Which leads us to the climax. 80s synth is pounding. It's like, ooh, what's gonna happen?
One of the biggest deals that you could ever have in one of these Doctor Who episodes.
Oh, man. So the long and short of it is the Hand of Omega flies out of the mothership. I think it either flies through space instantly or travels through time as well. I'm not sure what it does. Whatever it does. All we know. It flies, it goes from Earth to Skaro, flies into the sun, and creates a critical reaction that's out of control. The sun goes fucking supernova, and Skaro blows right the fuck up.
Yeah.
The Doctor just committed genocide.
Again!
But there's even more from that, because the feedback from the vaporization of Skaro also destroys the mothership.
Well, it's not the feedback.
It's
the Hand of Omega comes right the fuck back to blow up the mothership, too.
Yeah.
And the Doctor explicitly programmed it to use it, such that if Davros didn't listen to him and used it, he would blow up all the Daleks.
He has manipulated Davros into destroying his own race. Holy shit.
Holy crap.
Hot goddamn. And, Davros is just like, oh no, have pity on me. And the Doctor's just like, I have pity for you. Goodbye, Davros. It hasn't been pleasant.
Amazing.
Well, Davros does get away in an escape pod, to live another day, and in a story that never really got made because the show got canceled a year later, so he didn't come back until Journey's End. But,
Yeah.
And of course, the Hand is like leaving back to Gallifrey for some reason.
Yep. So the Doctor programmed the Hand to do that. He planned this entire goddamn thing. Hot goddamn.
Which, I mean, even considering the fact that at the time we didn't know about all the stuff that's going to happen in the future, technically, like all the future episodes, I still wouldn't trust Gallifrey with the Hand of Omega. Sorry, but I wouldn't.
Yeah, probably not. Who knows? Maybe they used it in the Time War. Who knows?
Well, funny you should mention that, because Russell T Davies considers this act one of the first acts of the Time War.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That's interesting. Yeah, I can see it.
And I think there's another source that says that actually it wasn't Skaro that was destroyed; it was a decoy planet called Antolin.
Oh, this fucking bullshit. I don't buy that. That's way too convoluted.
No, I don't buy it either. But I'm just putting it out there.
It takes away the entire oh shit drama of the thing if it's just fake Skaro.
Of course it doesn't. Don't forget that they managed to rebuild Skaro at least once. In fact, twice.
Yeah.
So that's fine.
Back to the Ace and Mike plot that's going on. Ace tracks Mike back to the boarding house, but she falls for the same bullshit Mike did, where she goes into a door and Mike is waiting behind the door to ambush her with a gun. So he has her at gunpoint for a bit. The doorbell rings. Mike goes to answer it, and it's the little girl, and she just does this little nod. She's like, "Oh, hi."
You will buy my Thin Mints, or you will die.
Do you want to buy some Girl Scout cookies? Sight? No, you're dead now.
Okay, and let me guess, Tipping did this one too, because the little girl
I don't know about that.
Just gives a nod.
I don't know about that, but he goes flying into the staircase.
He's just flying, he wrecks the goddamn banisters, and
Mike is dead as shit.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
And at this point, I'm just going to give some praise to the actress for the girl, if you don't mind.
Go ahead.
Yeah, Jasmine Briggs is her name. She didn't do any acting after this, really, but her little creepy smile and her general innocent but also very sinister demeanour is just perfectly played throughout the serial.
Uh-huh.
And so, she left acting, and I told the story before on the video that we did together, but she went into TV production, and there's a photograph of her all grown up, saying it's Russell T Davies, who met her behind the scenes on Strictly Come Dancing.
Oh, that's cute.
Oh.
But yeah, I think as far as children in Doctor Who go, this is a pretty good performance.
Yeah, she never says, "I'm bored in outer space.
Shut up.
Yeah.
Just shut up right now. Or we're gonna have problems.
Alright,
Either way,
Monica, is that
Let's
you?
talk about the last. Hey, let's talk. Speaking of, you said that Dalek took some cues from this. How about the end of the story where the Dalek faces the one remaining renegade Dalek, which could possibly be the last Dalek in existence, and basically talks it into killing itself.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
It's just, saying logically that all the Daleks are dead. You're 1,000 miles and you're a trillion light years and 1,000 years away from a disintegrated cinder of a homeworld. And the Dalek just starts going out of control.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going
data.
on here. If insufficient data. Yeah, you never fucking know the answer when it's important.
Yeah, but
Have I shown you that clip? Because that clip.
Oh, is that Tom Baker and K9?
Yes.
Oh, God,
Yes, I know that one.
But yeah.
Either way, the Supreme Dalek is now dead, which thankfully severs its link to the little girl.
I have to mention this before we get to it. I noticed this shot. I don't know if you two noticed.
No, I noticed.
But, you noticed. You know what I'm going to say. Once the little girl zaps Mike into oblivion, she heads into the front room to deal with Ace. Tries to give her the lightning. Ace ducks, but her goddamn Palpatine lightning smashes a mirror.
Yeah, there's a mirror on the wall.
So, Cat hit the right button. Doctor Who mirror alert. Whoop, 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 whoop. Thank you, Cat.
It doesn't reflect the lightning into her, though, which it could have done.
No, but we don't want. Well, we don't want to fry the little girl.
No,
That'd
of
be a
course we
little too
don't.
cool.
But I'm just saying that
Yeah.
could have happened. But Ace is cornered by
But
this
as you
little
said,
girl. But as the Supreme Dalek is spinning into oblivion, it's affecting the girl as well.
and she does a spin, and she's like shrieking, and she crumbles to the floor, and then she's bawling her eyes out because she was just used as a murder machine.
Yeah.
And Ace comforts her.
Yeah, and sadly, her story technically doesn't end there, but she's in an asylum for the rest of her life just because of everything that happened.
Oh, that sucks.
It broke her brain.
Oh, that sucks.
She's free of the control of Daleks, but it left its mental scars on her. So
I'm not gonna. Nah.
there's a story where Ace
There's a-
visits her in an asylum in 1993.
Yeah, and then she
sucks.
was still in the asylum by 1999.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah, it's really
Why
sad.
would you do that? Well, the serial ends with Mike's funeral, and everyone's walking into the church with the procession, and the doctor stops Ace, and he's just like, it's time to leave. And the last line, as we get our more 80s mournful synth, is just Ace saying, we did good, didn't we, Doctor? Time will tell.
Yeah.
And that is Remembrance of the Daleks.
And the thing about the funeral is that because he betrayed his country, Mike doesn't get a military funeral.
Oh, yeah? Oh,
And there's
shit.
only 6
Ace got
people.
exactly 6 persons.
Yeah, there's 6
at
people in
his,
attendance.
Service.
Gilmore Jensen,
I never
Alison
thought of that,
Williams, his mother, and a couple that's later revealed to be his uncle and aunt.
Yep.
Wow. Goddamn.
6 people plus
It's
the
almost
pallbearers.
like being a racist asshole doesn't make you many friends.
Yeah.
Just saying.
But that was Remembrance of the Daleks. I think I
That
know what we're
was
all going to say
fantastic.
for our overall thoughts, but
Honestly, I think we can all just sum it up with, that was fantastic, go watch it.
yeah,
Yeah?
pretty much.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I mean, I'll go here if you want me to.
I mean, I think we just summed it up. It's fantastic. Go watch it. It's fine by me. It's a summing
It
up.
is. Yeah,
Yeah.
we're kind of just talking over each other here with the stuff, but I really don't have much to say about it other than it absolutely is fantastic. It's one of my favorite classic Doctor Who's. Top 10 for me. It's better than Earthshock in every fucking way.
I still can't decide if this or Fenric is better. They might be neck and neck.
I lean towards Fenric a little more myself but this is like a solid silver medal.
I mean, they both have
And
really
if
good
it's your
character
favorite
beats.
McCoy.
They both have McCoy acting his socks off. They both have the Seventh Doctor being the Master Manipulator. It's a really hard one to call, which is better.
But in the end, you don't really have to call it. You can enjoy two amazing fucking McCoy serials.
Yeah.
Yep. I would say if I had to define this, I would say that this is the best of maybe like the Seventh Doctor as just, the Seventh Doctor along with Ace. And Fenric, I would say, is the best of the Master Manipulator Seventh Doctor.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see where you're coming from there. Yeah.
And I also can't say my favourite scene, whether it's Ace assaulting a Dalek with a baseball bat or the whole Davros-Doctor confrontation at the end. Because
it's beautiful.
Malloy and McCoy just play off each other so beautifully.
It's so good.
And there's even a bit where the Doctor's like taunting him, and I think it's Professor Jensen says, aren't you going a bit too far? I know what I'm doing.
Beautiful. Yeah. I hope you enjoyed your birthday present, Rainier.
Oh, I certainly did.
Great.
I enjoyed the birthday present I gave to myself.
This is an all-time classic, and again, a certain other story that's 4 points ahead of it on that poll should be flown into the sun so that this can go up a point.
Why not just throw it into the sun just before it goes supernova?
Oh yeah, great.
In fact, fun fact though, that story that we must not mention has one thing that it shares with this, and that is the fact that some of the side characters were so beloved that they actually went and made Big Finish audio series about them. So the Countermeasures group has Captain Gilmore, Professor Jensen, and Allison Williams in it.
Oh, that's interesting.
I'm glad they got more stories because they're not bad characters. We haven't talked about them that much, but because there's so much focus on the Dalek Civil War and on the girl and on Davros and on the Doctor and Ace, but they're not. They do add to the story.
So we kind of talked over each other, more of a roundtable discussion rather than hey, here's why we each like the story. But yeah,
I mean, honestly, at this point, it's just like we all agree on everything.
Yeah,
so
there's no point saying
that. Yeah. It separate.
If we're going to say the same thing three times over, it's not really worth saying it 3 times over.
It's fantastic. You should definitely watch it. And if you've already seen it, watch it again. It's fantastic, and it deserves to be viewed. So,
and you know what? If you've seen it twice, watch it a third time.
God, I can't count how many goddamn times I've seen it in the past 10 years.
We give this a 6 out of 5. Wait, what?
It's a 5 out of 7.
I knew you were going to go there, Kat. I knew it. Well, so speaking to you, Kat.
Hey, guess
it's your picnic. It's your picnic. All right, give us the Colin Baker. Go ahead.
It is not Colin Baker.
Okay.
I decided to be, well, maybe not a controversial thing, but I decided to be something that showed a bit of changes to Doctor Who. As anybody would know, Doctor Who isn't the best at continuity. However, for this one, there's not one of this. There's not 2 of this. In fact, there's 3 actually.
Oh no!
Wait.
You've got one of 2 choices here.
So, oh my God, no.
What we're going to do next time is the penultimate serial that featured Roger Delgado as the Master. It's time for the Time Monster.
Oh my God!
Oh, hey, Kat, you remember how I reacted when Brainiac picked the Web Planet Blind?
Yeah.
Have you Googled the Time Monster?
A little bit.
Hang on. I need to do a little Googling. I need to show you the titular time. Oh yeah. Hang on.
Trust me, there's a reason I picked this episode.
As soon as this gift came up, I had a feeling. I had a feeling it was this.
I know, Kat. I know exactly why you picked this episode, but you also picked this.
What in the hell?
Oh, no. That's That's the entire reason. That's the second reason.
That's not the entire reason. I know why you picked this.
The
No,
first
you-
reason I picked this, for those who may not know, is that this also features Atlantis in it.
Yeah.
You can't
Because
fool me.
my initial thought was, hey, let's go ahead and do the Atlantis stories. And then I looked a little bit more into the Time Monster. And then I saw that, and I was like, yeah, I know what we're doing.
You can't fool me. That's not a Doctor Who screenshot. That's a Power Rangers Monster of the Week.
Okay. Yeah.
Here's the reason I'm excited about the Time Monster.
Hey.
though.
Next time.
Hey.
Next time on Doctor Who, the Time Monster.
Yeah.
Hey, you want another screenshot from the Time Monster out of
Oh
context?
God, no.
Yep.
What the hell?
That's the other thing. That's the other thing that I saw.
The one known as the Doctor will be snoo by the large women.
Okay.
We're going back to the third Doctor, folks.
I'm fine with this. You don't know
Gonzo
why.
third Doctor.
Unbelievably,
I love it.
this will be the very first time we've encountered the Roger Delgado Master.
So it will. Okay.
So I am absolutely fine with this because the Roger Delgado Master is fantastic in every way.
You'll be happy to know that the third conflicting report of Atlantis is also a story with John Pertwee and Roger Delgado.
Is that the one I think it is?
It's the Daemons. I don't know how you say it.
That's not quite the one I
think
thought
it's
it was,
the
but yes.
Well, in that one, the destruction of Atlantis is mentioned offhand. You don't actually go to Atlantis in the Daemons.
I had a feeling
Well,
we
we
might
got
get to
to
the
Atlantis
Time
in the
Monster
Time Monster.
eventually, given that we mentioned it during our 100th episode, our live stream. Didn't we get to it this quickly? But I'm fine with it.
Oh, and Atlantis without fish people, without Professor Zaroff, without the goddess Amdo. What's it look like? Find out next time on the Time Monster.
Yep.
And you'll get to see exactly why so many fans hated the round things that were in the TARDIS now.
Oh, the round.
I'm
yeah.
not kidding. That is literally something that people had a problem with, were the round things.
Oh, the round. Yeah, the round things are different in the story.
I also love the fact I'm going into this blind, and Kat's going into this
Oh,
semi-blind. The only one who's got any knowledge of the whole thing is you, Frezno. You have the power.
I actually had this on the docket for my own pick, so that frees up a slot for me. So thank you, Kat.
I dread to think what
shall
he's
we wrap
going to
up?
pick in its place, but we'll get to that next time after this one. So
All
let's
right,
quickly wrap this up. We can be found on Twitter at ReviewsDoctor. Individually, we're at Rainiac the Maniac, at Freezing Inferno, and at Concave Usurper. You can also contact us on email via goexterminateyourself@gmail.com. Cat can sometimes be found streaming video games on twitch.tv/Concave Usurper. And all that remains to be to thank you for listening to us talk about An Innocent the Time Monster, Remembrance of the Daleks. That's next week. Wibbly wobbly timey wimey. Thank you to.
There's one thing. If I may, there's one thing we forgot.
Oh,
I
yeah,
forgot it too,
yeah.
to be fair. You can't do a podcast and not tell you people to buy Back to the 11th Hour by Krista McTeer, available now on Amazon.com.
We got it in there.
Yeah, thank you for stopping me so you can get that in there.
Go ahead.
I'm convinced at this point Krista is paying you.
I wish.
Oh, she doesn't have to. I'll do it anyways.
She did just get get added to the team for the Clara Oswald Untold Adventures of Clara Oswald though. So
Yeah,
I'm proud of her.
go girl.
she's a beta reader for
Go,
that
girl.
series,
Rocking it out.
which is finally getting more updates again because there's been some behind the scenes problems and of course the pandemic and the project's been beset by problems, but they're finally getting it back on track, and now Krista's been brought on board to help. So that's great.
I am genuinely
such
proud.
a good author get exactly what she deserves.
I am very proud and very supportive of my friend.
Yeah.
Yep. Meanwhile, you two are stuck here, so that says a lot about you.
I mean, if I can actually write the bloody novel, I might get it published.
Hey, I'm content in my obscure little bubble of the internet.
It's not
okay,
my
I
fault
can't
that
even
every
write,
time I
so.
sit down to write the thing, I change my mind and rewrite it again. No, that totally is my fault, actually, but whatever.
Say
Alright,
goodnight,
I
Rainiac.
believe in you both. I believe in you both.
Why do I not believe you somehow?
Say goodnight and get ready for Atlantis.
Yeah, so thank you to you, the audience, for listening to us talk about the members of the Daleks. Thank you to Jerry and Kat for joining me to talk about this fantastic Doctor Who story. And join us next time for what I hope will be another fantastic Doctor Who story, but it may not be. The Time Monster, starring John Pertwee and Roger Delgado. And until
Yay!
then, we'll see you next time. Bye for now.
Jesse Cox is a furry. He had won the war against himself. He loved the mirrors.
That's really good.
Please put that in the blooper reel.